In all of the chaos surrounding new Valve hardware, we got some updates on the Steam Deck 2, and I think we can read them as pretty positive. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. Man, it still feels good to say. Just gotta point it out. Yeah, I hope you're having a great week playing a ton of video games and all this chaos surrounding the Steam hardware reveals. I'm playing the mainstays, still rocking through Dying Light 2. I'm bummed NASCAR 25 runs like on PC because I was really looking forward to that on the Steam Deck, and I'm gonna dabble and try out Assetto Corsa Rally. Let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. Please check out the Deck Ready Twitter at deck_ready and check out the Deck Ready Instagram at deck.ready. But let's get into this video here because in the chaos surrounding the Steam hardware reveal, thankfully IGN of all outlets was like, hey, let's ask about the Steam Deck 2, and what Pierre had to say from Valve is extremely interesting. I'm gonna read you the quote, just hang with me here, it's a quick one. He said, obviously the Steam Deck's not our focus today, but the same things we've said in the past where we're really interested to work on what's next for Steam Deck, the thing we're making sure of is that it's a worthwhile enough performance upgrade to make sense as a standalone product. So anyone who's worried about them not making a Steam Deck 2, they are making a Steam Deck 2. They're just holding strong on their philosophy that they want it to be a next generation Steam Deck. They don't want it to be the situation we're in with the ROG Ally where we got the Z1 Extreme version and the Z1 version. Then we got the ROG Ally X with the Z1 Extreme and a lot of upgrades based on people's feedback. And now we're at the Xbox ROG Ally and Ally X where you've got the Z2 Go or Z2A, which is literally the Steam Deck's chip and not very good inside a 1080p handheld. And then you've got the Z2 Extreme, which is a marginal increase from the Z1 Extreme, and they're charging $1,000 for it when realistically they didn't need to upgrade in the first place. You know, like that's a bad situation they've got going on. And I think Valve is super smart to avoid it by just sitting and waiting, right? Like they just introduced hardware, the Steam Machine, that has a special chip built into it that allows it to directly stream to the Steam Deck. So if you feel like you want to play Metal Gear Solid Delta, Silent Hill F, or any of these other games that are just too demanding for the Steam Deck's hardware, you fire up your Steam Machine, you stream to your Steam Deck, you get insane longevity out of it for as long as it takes, and then you've got games that will run on it that you can play natively. It's kind of weird that it's so similar to the Steam frame in that way, right? Like you've got hardware built into the headset that can play your Steam games, but if something's just a little too powerful for it, bam, you stream it from your Steam Machine, you're good to go. So with this stuff announced, I think it's like the final piece of the puzzle as to why they're waiting so long and why they're justified in doing it. They now have a device that can extend the longevity and stream directly from it. Excellent. You can even do that from your regular PC though, or the PlayStation 5 with Chiaki. So like the Steam Deck definitely has some life in it. I don't think they're wrong to do this, but he continued on saying we're not as interested in getting to a point where it's 20, 30, or even 50% more performance at the same battery life. We want something a little bit more demarcated than that. So we've been working back from silicon advancements and architectural improvements, and I think we have a pretty good idea of what the next version of Steam Deck is going to be. But right now, there's no offerings in that landscape, in the SoC landscape that we think would be a truly next-gen performance Steam Deck. And yeah, he's right. There is chips out there right now in handhelds like the GPD 5 that truly are next-gen versions of the Steam Deck, but you don't get the battery life of the Steam Deck. If you've seen the GPD 5, people absolutely love it. I'd love to get my hands on one. I just can't justify the spend right now, but the way that works is they want you to keep it plugged into the wall. The battery does clip onto the back, but the battery life is not great. I mean, you can run it at lower TDPs and get the same-ish battery life as the Steam Deck, but then you've got a very heavy battery clamped on. Like the real way they want you to use it is to take the battery off, plug the two cords into it, and keep it plugged in. So like that doesn't work for the Steam Deck. So while the performance is there with those Strix Halo Point chips, I think that's what they're called, I mean, Valve has to wait for those to be more efficient and get great battery life and still offer the same performance. But the cool thing is it probably won't take that long, right? Like it'll maybe take a couple years, and that lines up perfectly with that 2026, 2027, 2028 window that we're all hoping for. So the real win here is that A, they've confirmed they're working on the Steam Deck 2. I don't know why there's this sentiment out there that Valve is going to move on from and abandon the Steam Deck platform that they've spent so much time building out. Even in that hardware video they put out yesterday, that 6-minute video, they started it off by talking about the Steam Deck. They were like, yeah, this thing's awesome. We're glad you guys love it, but that's not what we're talking about today. And in every little graphic where they added a new question mark reveal section for the Steam hardware video, the Steam Deck was the very first thing front and center. It's obviously the base point that they're building off of for SteamOS and all of these hardware advancements. So like clearly they're not a one and done company when it comes to the Steam Deck. They just want to wait until they get good performance, and I'm fine with that. Listen guys, like you go on Twitter, people make it seem like the Steam Deck is a Game Boy Advance compared to anything else, but if you compare it to Switch 2 footage, it's basically running the same as Switch 2. It compares well to the ROG Xbox Ally X. Like you get 10 FPS better on these better handhelds that cost significantly more. I think the Steam Deck is more than performant enough. And even when it comes to Unreal Engine 5, I mean, if you get games that don't rely on Nanite or Lumen, like the Finals and Arc Raiders and Tokyo Extreme Racer, they run just fine. Tokyo Extreme Racer, 30 FPS all day long at medium settings with no upscaling, and it looks phenomenal. Arc Raiders, you can basically play at medium and get 30 FPS, but you can also play at low and get even better FPS and lock it at 40 or 45. The Finals is a 30 FPS experience, but it runs great and it's a more casual FPS compared to something like CS2 or something like that, or Battlefield, I guess, I don't know. And it works fine for me. I'm running through the Battle Pass, I'm doing competitive in KD and objective clearing, so even these games that people act like could never run on the Steam Deck run just fine. So I don't think there's that much of a rush, if we're being honest, to release the Steam Deck 2, and I'd prefer it actually be a generational leap. Like I want it to be a firmly planted Steam Deck 2. I don't want a Steam Deck 1.5 or 1.75 or 1.8. I want a Steam Deck 2 that rules and costs, you know, around the same as the original Steam Deck, right? Like there's always trade-offs. If you want great performance, you got to charge more or wait longer. And I prefer they wait longer and charge a fair price, which it seems like is what they're going to do. And I've also seen a lot of people kind of questioning who the audience is for the Steam machine. And I think they're looking at it the wrong way. Like clearly the audience is people in the Steam Deck ecosystem, right? It's a great add-on for your Steam Deck. It's a Steam Deck for your TV. Steam and SteamOS are perfectly set up to bounce your saves back and forth. It has the same sleep mode where you can just wake it up with a game running and get right back to where you left off. As someone who has two devices with SteamOS on them, the Legion Go S and Steam Deck that I bounce between, I have left games in sleep mode on the Steam Deck like Dying Light 2 because I didn't want to turn the game off, and played games like Forza Horizon 4 or 5 on my Legion Go S and came right back to Dying Light 2 on the Steam Deck. And even though it was online while I was screen off or whatever, and it knew I was on Steam on another device playing a game, it doesn't kick me out of the game I was playing. So that's how it's going to work with the Steam machine as well, and that's excellent. Another reason I think both the Steam machine and the Steam frame can be seen as add-ons for the Steam Deck is the SD card situation. They've set both of these machines up where you can take the micro SD card out of your Steam Deck. You can pop it in the Steam machine, play your games off of it perfectly fine. Everything's right there. And then you can pop it out of the Steam machine and pop it into your Steam frame and do the same thing. You've got a whole trifecta ecosystem of moving SD cards back and forth with your entire library ready to go, ready to access. And that's awesome. I'm so excited for it that I finally upgraded from a 1 terabyte SD card to a 2 terabyte SD card yesterday. So I got to test out the screen off downloading feature and it worked great. I downloaded 44 games overnight, and when I came down here and opened up my Steam Deck in the morning, they were all sitting there ready to play, ready to go. So I feel really good about this SD card situation, and the screen off downloading feature is going to come in clutch on the Steam machine as well. So I think that's the audience. Another group of people who I think are interested in this thing though are Xbox players. I'm not a Windows hater. I'm glad they're making Xbox full screen experience, because if people want to stick with Xbox, they should have a good pathway going forward if Xbox is moving out of the console ecosystem altogether. But if there are people who are like, if Xbox is making a PC anyway that's going to have Steam on it, and this thing's coming out first and will be cheaper, I think those people are a pretty sizable group of people that would be willing to move from Xbox up to Steam and be able to play Steam games, or maybe even stream Xbox games, or most importantly, hopefully Xbox gets Xbox Game Pass integrated into Steam, which behind the scenes I've heard is coming very soon. So there'll be a good switch point over from Xbox to Steam machine. And there's a lot of people who have never experienced PC and are curious about it, but don't want to dive into settings and like running operating systems and installing them and everything. Now they've got a great entry-level PC box that can fit under their TV and work with a controller that they can dip their toe in the water with at a great price point. So I think there's a huge potential user base situation here going on with the Steam Machine that is really being discounted stupidly by a lot of people in the games media. I've been playing on Steam a very long time, and I'll never forget when I was in junior year of college and Steam announced all this stuff like the Steam Machine, the Steam Controller, the Steam Link, Big Picture Mode, and I was so excited to run home and update my Steam to beta and get Big Picture Mode, and I really felt like it was the future. And a lot of people are pointing out that a big reason they think the Steam Machine is going to fail is because the last one did. It's a completely different landscape, man. It's not even close to similar. Like, the last Steam Machine was built to run native Linux games, and that's a big ask, right? To say, hey, Windows developers, port all your games natively to Linux, will help you do it. That's a big ask compared to, you don't have to do shit, man. Like, you can just put your game running on Windows on Steam. We'll handle the rest. Just make sure the anti-cheat works. If it's multiplayer, you'll be good to go. Bam, you're done. You're good to go. I think it's going to be successful. I think you think it's going to be successful because you're watching this video. And just like looking at the trajectory of the Steam Deck, I mean, Valve went into it making a great piece of hardware that's great at running and playing games. Because unlike a lot of the other ecosystems out there, I think the coolest thing about the Steam Deck community and now the Steam hardware community is that people just want to actually play games. They don't want to argue over specs. They don't want to just bitch and moan about how their box is better than the others. They want a device that they can plug in, turn on, and start playing games on, and that's what Valve has created and looks like they're going to continue to create. So, not worried about the Steam Deck 2. I'm happy to wait for it. I'm excited about the Steam Machine. I'm excited to talk about that leading up to launch. I hope you're excited too, but if you're one of the naysayers out there who think Valve is abandoning the Steam Deck platform, I'm happy to say that you're wrong, and you should be happy too, because the Steam Deck is awesome, and I think it will just continue to get better. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you in this one. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.